Welcome to a journey that transcends time, a tale of defiance and unwavering faith that has echoed through the ages. Today we're exploring the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, three figures whose tale has been etched into the annals of history. Their narrative unfolds in the grand court of King Nebuchadnezzar, a place of opulence and power. Among the throngs of people, a golden effigy of the king himself stands tall, commanding allegiance from every soul present. All are expected to bow before this image, to pledge their loyalty not just to the king, but to the golden likeness of him. Yet in this sea of conformity, a decree echoes through the trumpets, a mandate that demands loyalty not just to a king but to an image. And so, the stage is set for a story of faith and courage against the odds. A decree echoed through the trumpets, enforcing loyalty to the image. Yet these three audacious Hebrew boys stood firm, their loyalty reserved for the Almighty. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, three names that resonated through the grand court of King Nebuchadnezzar, for they were the only ones who dared to defy the king's decree. In the face of a golden image that towered over them and the threat of a fiery demise, they remained unyielding. Their hearts echoed with a loyalty that was not of this world, but to their God in heaven. They stood before the king, not with fear, but with a courage that was born out of their unshakable faith. Their defiance was not a result of arrogance or rebellion. No, it was a testament to their unwavering trust in the God they served. A trust that was not swayed by the golden glimmer of the image or the fiery threat of the furnace. An opportunity was given to them to bow down, to conform, to save their own lives. But they chose the path of integrity, the path of faith. They chose to honor their God rather than to preserve their own lives. They chose to stand, even when the whole world was bowing down. Their response to the king was bold and resolute. They declared, "Even if our God doesn't deliver us from the fiery furnace, we will not serve your gods or worship the golden statue you have set up." Their words echoed throughout the court, a declaration of faith that resonated stronger than the king's decree. Their defiance was a demonstration of their trust in God, a trust that was not contingent on their deliverance. They knew that their God was capable of saving them, but even if he chose not to, they would still remain faithful. They would not compromise their faith, even in the face of death. Their bold response proclaimed their trust in a God who could save them from the fiery furnace, a trust that was unwavering, even in the midst of adversity, a trust that was rooted in their belief that God was with them, no matter the circumstance. The king's fury erupted, leading to their binding and an escalation of the furnace's heat, to a searing intensity 7 times greater than normal. The magnitude of this fury was so great, it claimed the lives of the soldiers tasked with casting our three protagonists into the raging inferno. Now imagine Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, bound hand and foot, staring into the mouth of this fiery beast. The heat alone was enough to scorch the skin, to singe the hair, but their faith remained unshaken. They knew deep down that their God was with them, that even in the heart of the fire they were not alone. As they were cast into the furnace, the court watched in anticipated horror, expecting nothing less than a swift and terrible end. But what they witnessed was far from their expectations. The flames raged on, devouring everything in its path, everything except for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The fire, so deadly and unforgiving, seemed to dance around them, leaving them untouched, unscathed. The bindings that held them captive were consumed, leaving them free to walk within the furnace. It was a sight that left the court in stunned silence, a spectacle that defied all understanding. Here were three men, not just surviving, but thriving in the midst of the flames. Their faith had not only protected them, but it had also provided them with a peace that surpassed all understanding. This was no ordinary event. This was a divine intervention, a testament to the power of unwavering faith and trust in God, a demonstration that even in the face of impossible odds, those who remain steadfast in their faith will not be consumed, but rather they will be set free. The king's fury erupted, leading to their binding and an escalation of the furnace's heat to a searing intensity 7 times greater than normal. But in the end, it was not the king's wrath that prevailed, but the unyielding faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. As the flames roared and the furnace doors creaked open, King Nebuchadnezzar beheld not 3 but 4 figures walking unscathed within the inferno. A miracle, an act of divine intervention had occurred within the fiery belly of the furnace. The king squinted, as if doubting his own eyes. The fourth figure seemed different, radiating an ethereal glow, a stark contrast to the dark, angry flames surrounding them. His heart pounded in his chest as he realized that the fourth figure bore no earthly resemblance. This was no ordinary man. This was a divine entity, a celestial presence that had stepped into the fiery furnace to protect the Hebrew boys. The king's lips quivered as he whispered to his closest advisors, his voice barely audible over the crackling of the flames. "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire? Yet I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt." The advisors nodded, their faces pale with fear and astonishment. They too could see the fourth figure, a divine being, walking freely in the fire, unscathed, untouched, unharmed. The king's eyes widened as he watched this extraordinary spectacle unfold before him. He could hardly believe what he was witnessing, an act of God, a divine intervention that defied all logic and reason. His voice trembled as he announced to his court, "Look, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God." The court gasped, their eyes riveted on the fiery furnace. The king, once arrogant and unyielding, now stood humbled and awestruck. He had witnessed a miracle, a divine intervention that had forever changed his perception of the Almighty. The king marveled, exclaiming that the fourth figure bore an uncanny resemblance to the Son of God. In an unexpected twist, the once-bound trio emerged untouched by the flames, devoid of the scent of smoke. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out from the fiery furnace, not a hair on their heads singed, their clothing unscathed, and not even the faintest hint of smoke lingering on them. Their survival was nothing short of a miracle, a divine intervention that left everyone in awe. This was not just a miraculous preservation, it was a divine declaration. A clear statement that when God steps in, even the fiercest of fires lose their power. The flames that were intended for their destruction were transformed into a stage for their deliverance. The fiery furnace, once a symbol of their impending doom, became a platform for God's power and glory. The king's reaction was immediate and profound. Nebuchadnezzar, who had once demanded allegiance to his golden image, now stood in awe of the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The same king who had sentenced them to a fiery death now found himself praising their God. Overwhelmed by the undeniable power of God, the king issued a new decree. This time it was not a command to worship his golden image, but a proclamation praising the God of the Hebrew boys. He acknowledged their God as the one true living God, capable of delivering his servants from any danger. The king's transformation was as miraculous as the deliverance of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In the aftermath of this incredible event, a transformation took place. A transformation not just in the lives of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but in the heart of a mighty king and his kingdom. The fiery furnace that was meant for their destruction became the catalyst for their elevation and the glorification of their God. The king, awestruck, issued a new decree, praising the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. A testament to the power of unwavering faith and a reminder for us all that when God is for us, no fire, no trial, no challenge can stand against us. Now, as we delve deeper into this remarkable story, let's analyze the practical steps that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego took amid their adverse situation. Steps that we can echo when confronted with seemingly impossible predicaments. Step 1. Nurture an unshakable trust in God. This requires not just acknowledging His existence, but also affirming His power and His promises. Step 2. Pledge a commitment to God, even unto the brink of death. This signifies being prepared to forfeit everything, even your life, for your faith in God. Step 3. Uphold your faith through adversity. This implies clinging to your faith even when circumstances get challenging, and not allowing your circumstances to destabilize your trust in God. Let hardships become a canvas upon which God brushes His masterpiece, causing you to radiate in His divine light. Before we wrap up, we have a small request. If you found solace, inspiration, or wisdom in the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support enables us to continue sharing these timeless tales of faith and resilience. We also invite you to share your personal stories with our community. Please leave a comment below, telling us about a time when you faced an impossible situation and saw God's hand at work in your life. Your experiences might uplift someone else navigating a challenging circumstance. For more inspirational Christian content, feel free to explore our channel. You'll find a wealth of videos that delve into various biblical disciplines, offering insights and lessons for contemporary life. Thank you for visiting Shekinah Seekers Haven. We're grateful to have you as part of our community, and we look forward to journeying together on this path of faith and discovery.